Um, Gender-based violence and mass shootings, whether it is in the United States of America or anywhere in the world, and crime in general, will not come to an end and cannot be controlled until the world and all the people involved, especially our politicians and lawmakers and decision makers and public administrators, realize one thing. Gender-based violence, mass shootings, crime in general, robberies, femicides, infanticides, and killings of people are not due to mental derangement. Frankly, mentally sick people or people with psychiatric illnesses are not the ones who are killing or shooting people most in our mass shootings, and they are not the ones who are killing people the most in our gender-based violence, and they are not the ones who are robbing people at night, breaking into houses and doing all sorts of crime. The people who are doing that are normal looking people. They are the people that are considered to be normal, or that we consider to be normal, and we only begin to think that there is something abnormal about them when they have committed these crimes. Otherwise, before they have committed the crimes, we look upon them as normal people. We deal with them. We are even surprised that they could do that. That must tell us one thing. Criminology or criminality is in the mind. It is not inborn. No one is born a criminal. We are all born angels. But we learn to be criminals. We are taught to be criminals by the environments in which we are born and the environments in which we grow up. And we are taught by the people who bring us up in those environments. And this does not just include your parents, close siblings, brothers and sisters, and other relatives, but it also includes the whole community in which you are brought up, the whole community in which you grew up. And this also extends to the whole country. Therefore, it also extends to the government, to the public administration systems, to the things that made you who you are. You are who you are, not just because of genetics in terms of character, personality, and behavior. Genetics has nothing to do with character, personality, and behavior. Completely nothing. There is no one who is genetically wired to be a criminal or to be a mass shooter or to be a gender-based violence abuser. No one, absolutely no one is genetically born like that or genetically wired to be like that. We are all taught our character, personality, and behavior by the environment in which we are born and in which we are brought up. Unfortunately, not many people are aware of this fact, number one. The number two fact that people are not aware of is that 80% of our character, personality, and behavior is done in terms of teaching and learning and acquiring by the time you are 2 years of age. 2 years of age, 80% of that is done. And the people who teach you character, personality, and behavior are not even aware that they are teaching you those things. In much the same way that they are not aware that they are teaching you language. Because by the time you are 2 years of age, you can speak your mother language or the language in which you were brought up or the language that was spoken around you from the time you were born to the time you are 2 years. You can speak it perfectly. Not just perfectly, with understanding, comprehension, all the syntaxes, intonations, everything you understand. And language is complex. It's not just easy to understand language. Now, if a 2-year-old kid has mastered the art of use of language at 2 years of age, what other things about character, personality, and behavior have they mastered at that age? Are people aware that at 2 years of age, 80% of character, personality, and behavior is already cast in stone in a child? And at 5 years of age, 95 to 98% of that is done. At 7 years of age, it's 100%. So what that means is that by 7 years of age, you can't change the character, personality of a child. If that child has been taught traits to be a mass shooter, they will be a mass shooter. If that child has been taught traits to be a gender-based violence abuser, they will be a GBV abuser. And if that child has been taught to be a rapist, a murderer, a robber, there will be a rapist, murderer, and a robber. And this is the kind of thing that people, parents, need to be taught. Communities need to be taught. These are the kind of things that the schools, especially early childhood education and development, needs to be aware of and be taught so that they know how to impact positively on our children as they teach them and bring them up to good adults. Unless and until the whole world knows how character, personality, and behavior are impacted into human beings, we can talk all we want, we can put all the gun control measures we want, we can put all the punitive laws to send people to jail, to prison, or even to kill them through death penalties. But we will not change the statistics as far as mass shootings, gender-based violence, murder, robberies, and all crimes or criminality is concerned. The only thing that can change that is our understanding of the origin and the basis of character, personality, and behavior, and then doing something positive from the first day a child is born to change that, to make sure that we have a product, a child, an adult who is not going to be a mass shooter, who is not going to be a gender-based violence abuser, who is not going to be a rapist, who is not going to be a robber. Until that happens, we shall continue to grapple with these crimes, and we shall continue to blame everything else: lack of gun control, lack of law enforcement, lack of stiff sentences. But all those things don't matter a bit. They don't change a thing. What changes a thing is that it is better to bring up good people, good children, than to try and correct already damaged adults. Common wisdom. But who is listening anyway? Who is listening? Ask me. Nobody. And that is the tragedy. That is our tragedy as human beings. And some of us have been preaching about this thing for time immemorial. And nobody listens. Until people listen to that wisdom, to the wisdom that crime is not genetically wired. And crime is not because of mental illness. Crime is because of aberrant characters, personalities, and behaviors which we brought up, which as communities we taught to our children, which as parents we inadvertently, unknowingly imparted into our children. Because we didn't know. We didn't know. We don't know the origin of character, personality, and behavior. If every parent, it's made mandatory for them to learn about the origin of character, personality, and behavior before they have children, by the time they have children, they will behave correctly. Because a child starts learning from day one, not day one, from the first hour, first minute, first second the child is born, they start learning. No one is ever sat down to teach their children how to speak. But 2 years after birth, they can speak perfectly the language that is spoken around them. How did they learn that? And if they could learn to speak complex things like language, what other complex things have they learned during that period of time? Of course, character, personality, and behavior. And then we are surprised. I brought him well, I don't know. I brought him up well, I don't know where he got this thing from. He was a good guy, but I just don't know. Hey, look back. You will find out where he got the thing from, and he got it probably from you. Unknowingly, inadvertently, unintentionally. That is the problem. Until we know that, until we know that character, personality, and behavior is not inborn. Character, personality, and behavior is a taught thing. These are taught traits, and they are taught insidiously, unknowingly, unconsciously. But once you know that, then you know how to behave around children. And 80% of that is learned by 2 years of age, and 100% by 7 years of age. And you can hardly change it afterwards. That is the problem. Good people, I've said my piece. I hope the world will remember me for this. Thank you very much.